I'm happy to report that low water summer is over. That's because summer and fall are both over. We're heading into winter and we got a brief spike of water in the river, and that afforded us a lot of opportunities to paddle little falls with juicier flows, which we haven't seen for like a year. And so this video is intended to compare Z channel all the way through little falls at various levels that are higher water than we've seen in quite some time. In the lower left-hand corner, you'll see the height of the river as well as the tide value. And what was really interesting to me is how a lower level like 3.6 at really low tide is really similar in a lot of ways to a higher level like 4.1 at high tide. Remember, the tidal variation is significant here. At high tide, there's more water coming back up the river. So rocks go underwater, features wash out. And at low tide, there's less water, which means that the features kind of get bigger and there's more opportunity to play. It's a little more chaotic. It's more rocks exposed, that kind of thing. So just be aware when you're going out to check the tide. It's no wonder I never make this attainment when my boat angle is so bad. I should be facing more upstream when I hit that wave. This is the baby practice boof at the top of Z, and it really just gets better as the river comes down, but it does wash out, I think, around like 2.7 feet. This is better boat angle, still not good enough, and I could have used more speed moving out of the eddy too.
Two. Yeah, buddy. Woo!
The actual Z channel boof is really good at all of these levels, and if you don't quite feel up to running little falls at higher water, but the level is 3.67894, then get out here and just run the boof. You can take out river left, walk up, and just do it over and over and over. It's great practice. Plenty of good surfing, including in Z channel. Paul here is Surfing USA. He could have sat on that wave all day if we let him.
Nice. Launching.
One obvious thing about higher river levels that's really nice is you don't have to dodge as many rocks. There's less pinning potential, and the water is moving so fast that when you actually peel out, it carries you with it. It doesn't feel lethargic, none of that. Leaving Z is really a strong peel out, and whoop, you're gone. Stark contrast for sure to low water summer. Lost some footage due to GoPro issues, so I don't have the 3.86 foot footage in here for the actual Z channel drop, but suffice it to say that if it's 3.86, go out there at a minimum because Z is so good. It's a great boof, and the waves aren't, that crazy at Little Falls. So if you're comfortable there at like 3.5 or so, definitely go out. Like, It's good times. All right, I want you to pay attention here because something magical happens when there's more water in the river. The bone zone turns from like a rock hopping, scrapey, don't pin, don't flip thing to actually having some interesting rapids and features to play, including surfing, fun little drops, funny eddy play as you can make your way over to the Virginia side. So have a look at what Paul is showing us here. Like this little rapid, I don't know what to call it, but it's a great warm up on your way out to a bigger water Potomac Little Falls experience. So for newer boaters, this is a weird little drop, and it's not really surfable until the water gets a little bit higher, probably closer to 4.3, but still a great place to practice ferries and peel outs and all of that good stuff, particularly when it's cold and you don't want to flip over. I like to be warmed up by the time I get on the water. Now, we'll do a practice roll, get used to the cold water, that kind of stuff, but for me, I just don't like flipping as much when it's freezing cold, so being warmed up is good.
Well, some initial observations. Definitely have more exposed rock than at 4 feet. It's kind of obvious.
Again, because of missing footage, I'm going straight from 4.16 down to 3.6 low tide. Honestly, you can just imagine somewhere directly in between those values for 3.86. But basically, this is the same spot that we were just playing at in the last clip from 4.16. You can see the anatomy of the rapid a little bit better in terms of the bouncy, weird little drop, and then where we're playing and sort of warming up. Note that this is kind of midway across the river, probably 200 yards down from the pump station.
Yep.
Different river levels and tide values always have trade-offs. And in this case, you can see as we move from 4.16 down to 3.86, the Midway waves at 4 feet plus are pretty much washed out. It's flat water. And at just slightly lower levels and different tide, you get some waves out of it. So check out that contrast here.
Is Midway just a float, or are there some practice boofs at this level?
What's that? Yeah, it's pretty much just a float.
Yeah.
Spicy Cheeto is almost all the way underwater at this point, but still surfable. This is the mighty Beaver Slide, totally washed out. You can definitely attain it either side. I mean, just play around, peel out. Honestly, there's not a ton going on. We worked out here for a second and then just passed on. At slightly lower water, this is actually a sick boof, which feels kind of gnarly because there's almost no eddy on your left and some rocks. So worth checking out. It's coming up. This is just Keith doing the attainment because I didn't record myself doing it. Okay, this actually is not Beaver Slide. This is that little waterfall thing that you see before Beaver Slide on River Left. It kind of washes into this little thing you can play on. This is Beaver Slide, and huge credit to this big group of supportive paddlers we ran into. We know some of them. We were glad to meet others. They were just blasting up this attainment, no problem. I gave it a try a few times, but ended up doing the attainment on the other side because it was less scary, frankly. But pleasure to meet everybody, and shout out to Cheddar and Dylan. Okay, that's the easy mode attainment up the further down slot of Beaver. There's 2 slots, so this is the one that's a little further down river. Once you get up, this is the boof I was talking about, which is super fun and easy to access via that attainment.
Yeah, buddy. I didn't even boof it. I just got real close and ran it.
Beaver's good at 3.6. It's just a fun little drop to run. Still worth getting out and carrying down for, and there's some surfing at the bottom if you're game. All right, 3.6, low tide. This is what the surfing looks like. Setting a fantastic example is Paul in the red boat and the black helmet. He could sit on that wave for hours. We've also got Young Guns showing us how it's done. Will in the green helmet, shout out to you. Awesome to boat with you. Will is only 12 and he's run the Upper Gauley, so absolutely smashing it. Same goes on all counts for Annabelle in the black helmet and the Watermelon Jackson. These kids are going to be so much better than all of us if they stick with it. So cool to see.
Whew, close.
Listen, y'all, Beaver pretty much washes out at this level. You can see there's still a baby little pour over there to play in. There's some stiff current, which is good for peeling out and getting used to the eddy lines. You can warm up here for Little Falls itself. And pretty much after Beaver Slide, you're going straight into it because there's not slingshot either. So yeah, really at 3.8 also, a lot of the stuff between Beaver and Little Falls is washed out. Slingshot or Sidewinder, whatever people want to call it. That thing is really only in play like below 3.6 for the most part. It kind of depends on the tide too, but for what it's worth. Yeah. One thing to remember as you're paddling at different tide levels and river levels is that the river actually changes in terms of how it looks. You might get a bunch of rainfall and hop on Little Falls, and the last time you ran it, it was 3.2. Well, now it's 4 feet, and a lot of the landmarks you use to navigate are kind of gone. So you don't want to let a rapid sneak up on you. You want to know where the eddies are, that kind of stuff. Because I always get surprised. I go out at higher water and I'm like, oh, we're at Little Falls already? Like how'd we get here? You want to avoid surprises, especially when the rapids get bigger and stronger. And one thing to note about Little Falls is that when it's really moving, it can be a pretty long swim for people. It's a powerful wave train. It's moving really fast. And so especially since it's winter, a lot of the times when it's higher and you're running it, just dress for a swim in case you end up stuck in the current longer than you want to be. I know people who've washed down under Chain Bridge, so if you got to recover everything, you don't want to be freezing your butt off the whole time. Listen, it's big waves, good times. At 4 feet, most people are keeping left and just running down Maryland because it's so good. There are big reactionary waves that you'll go over In Maryland, they come from river left to right, so angling your bow a little bit left in anticipation after the drop into the Maryland side of the rapid is a good idea. I roll over here, but it's no problem. Roll quickly right back up, and that was mainly, again, because it's one of those sloshing side-to-side reactionaries. But it's super fun. At high tide, it's honestly comparable in some ways to like a lower level, 3.6 at low tide. So go out and do it. It's great times. Just know it's a little stronger, a little faster, taller waves. And so if you're a newer boater to Little Falls, not really comfortable with that yet, then just get it at some lower levels before tackling it at high water.
How about that? How fun? Hell yeah.
Okay. At this river and tide level, there's a big eddy above Scout Rock on river left that you can stage in. And then after Welcome Wave, there's a really big eddy, again, river left that you can recover in if you need to. I think it's most fun, honestly, to blast straight down and get all the waves in succession. Welcome Wave is really tall. You're going to be riding up it. And also there's a tendency to have these breaking waves, which can literally like break onto your boat. So maintaining edge control, continuing to paddle. If you get blinded when you go through one of these waves, shake it off or look down so that your visor protects your eyes, and just keep paddling forward because you're really just going in a straight line here. Okay, a common challenge in a half slice is basically when your bow gets lifted up, if you raise one knee, you might lose your edge. That's what happens here as I bounce over those waves. But it's really deep, and so I immediately just roll with confidence, and I'm blinded for a second, but I just know I'm supposed to be going straight, so I keep paddling because I didn't perceive a change in direction.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Woo!
I honestly think it's getting more fun as the level comes down, actually. 4 was great, and the rapid was long. It was super fun. But check out those waves, man. This was a great time. Also, note the left to right waves at the end of that run. That's really why I want to get your bow angled left. All right, now from this big eddy at the top, you can actually take these little chutes down into the rapid, which is fun. We do the outer one this time, and the next time we run it, we do the inner one, which is a little bumpier. You'll see. I told you there was a big eddy on river left down here. Look how big it is. So like, just remember, if you swim or if something bad happens, you've got that big recovery area down there. Keep that in the back of your mind. All right, just note also the eddy's so big and there's still some kind of milder current right next to it. You really don't have to peel out all the way into the big meat here in order to run the Maryland side. In fact, in some ways, it's convenient to enter the rapid like right in the middle of where things kick off, or even just a little bit left, depending on how you want to deal with that wave. Definitely try to eddy out right behind the river right rock, because there's a great wave that you can try and catch there for a really bumpy surf, but if you wash off of it, it's tough to get back up for round 2. Remember, I'm neither very fit nor very good at paddling, so I'm sure somebody else could have made this attainment, this upstream bit, to get back up and hop into that wave train or surf the wave, but I just didn't have it in me this day. All right, I'm really stoked to show you all this. Basically, after you take out at the normal takeout for Little Falls and walk up the paved part, you'll see a path just at the top of the paved bit, just up the hill off to your left. If you follow it until you hit a stream, you can just follow that stream, and if it's rained a lot, you can paddle it. Otherwise, you just kind of make your way over it. But eventually, in this case, it's going to lead you to the top eddy above Little Falls itself, so you can have a second run. I lie down on my boat and kind of gorilla drag myself over part of the creek. That's a bad idea, and it doesn't work well. I don't recommend it. Paul is sitting in his boat doing this paddle with your feet out thing, but I'm just too heavy and I keep bumping over rocks. So I literally just like walk my boat all the way down. But when you get there, you can get a second lap of Little Falls without having to walk all the way back to the parking lot. Now, it might have actually been better to just walk all the way back and then run down Beaver Slide because you can put in just over that bridge rather than taking Z channel. But in this case, it was just a great way to get back and get a second lap because 3.6 low tide is really, really, really fun. And we both agreed that we just wanted another shot at it. This time we run that second chute on the left, 3.6 low tide. It's a little bit bumpy. I would run it every time because it's super fun. But if it makes you nervous at all, then just let it come up to a slightly higher level.
All right.
All right, here's Paul trying to surf that epic wave at the outflow of the Maryland side of Little Falls. Not even close. That's all right. We'll get them next time. Thanks for watching, y'all. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below. This is a great level to run Little Falls at, but I want to make really clear that once it gets into the 5 feet, 6, 7, 8 feet zone, it is not the same. Do not treat it the same. It's big water. It has much more dire consequences. So just, I haven't run it yet, but I'll post a video when I do at a level like that.